Peace and welcome back to Listen Up here on your source for cool jazz and more. WEAA 88.9 FM and WEAA.org, the voice of the community and, of course, the next generation. I'm your host, Faraji Muhammad. It is now time for our new segment as we continue to celebrate great women here for Women's History Month. And we're going to have our new segment, For Women, by fellow radio show host. She is a member of the Ladies of Listen Up and is the CEO and founder of I Call Her Queen, LLC. We're welcome back again for another installment of For Women, by Women with Nerra Muhammad. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me. So on this week's edition of For Women, by Women, we will be traveling back to the 1850s to take a look at one of our greatest heroines, Harriet Tubman. Now, I know you guys are probably wondering, Harriet Tubman, where did she pull that from? Out of a hat? No, I've been following WGN's show called The Underground. And if any of you have not had a chance to check out The Underground, please check it out. It is an amazing show. But to get back to the For Women, by Women segment for this evening, I really want to touch on how we as women have to get more in tune with being our own heroine. So often we're always talking about, I don't have any help, or, I look up to this person, or I look up to that person. I want women to take a moment to step back and say, you know what? Today, I'm my own heroine. Today, I'm going to slay my own dragon. Today, I'm going to pursue my own dreams. Today, I'm going to get one foot out of the bed. And hey, that may be all the success that I needed for that day, but that's okay. So, back to my girl, Harriet Tubman. I was really inspired by her because, of course, we know that she freed slaves, and that's what she's known for. But I thought it was really cool that, one, Harriet Tubman was born here on Maryland's Eastern Shore.
Yes.
So I was like, that's what's up. She was born here, so her blood was already thick because she's from Maryland. You know what I mean? Maybe not Baltimore, but close enough. She fled slavery in 1849, leaving behind her husband and children. Her husband, who at the time was a free man, but she did return to the South at least 19 times.
Wow.
To free slaves.
Wow.
19 times. She served as a scout, a spy, and a nurse during the Civil War. For many years, she nursed wounded soldiers. That was all she did. And she took care of herself by baking gingerbread and selling root beer. That's how she supported herself during that time. Even though she was she did a lot for the Union, they didn't pay her very much. I mean, over a course of 2 years, she only made $200. So she had to support herself. So I love that about her, that she was such a go-getter and that she really, first of all, her bounty, the highest bounty for her head was $40,000. That's a lot of money back then. So she was very notorious. She definitely was one of the top people for the Underground Railroad, which we already knew. But I think that's amazing that she was so influential, that a woman could be so influential in such a big part of our history here in America. So as you all know, she's referred to as Moses because she led the people to freedom. So absolutely. For many of us, I don't know how many of you think of the black man and woman as a modern-day Israelite, but some look at her story as a prime example of how the black man and woman is a modern-day Israelite because they call her Moses back then. And I just love that Moses this time was a woman. Boom. So there were a couple of quotes that I felt like were really, really strong from Harriet that I wanted to touch on. Number one being, she said, never wound a snake, kill it. Never wound a snake.
Can we say that one more time? I love it.
I was like, this little short lady was fiery. I'm telling you. And then something else that she said that really stuck out to me was, I started with this idea in my head. There's two things I've got a right to, death or liberty. I want everyone to take a look at the fact that slavery was not that many years ago. We think of it like, oh my gosh, that had to be like 200, 300 years ago. No, slavery is right in our back door. We're still dealing with so many of those same issues that we dealt with during slavery. So to read some of her words and hear her say that she's got a right to two things, death or liberty, how relevant is that still to our black community today? How relevant is that to the poor communities of the world today? Not just the black community, but the poor communities of the world. Because in a lot of cases, it's not about color, it's about wealth. And so a lot of us are all linked together. So I think that you can learn so much from the past, and you have to look at how history repeats itself and how some of those leaders from back then, some of the things that they've said and that they've done are so relevant to who we are today. Another thing that she said was, every great dream begins with a dreamer. Always remember, you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars to change the world. Those are the words that I definitely want to leave all of you with tonight. Before I close out, I'm going to repeat those words again because they meant so much to me just in reading them that I wanted to get it out, and I wanted to say it twice because I feel like, be your own heroine, ladies. Look in the mirror every day, and I want you to tell yourself that you're beautiful. I want you to draw from the strength of our ancestors, those Harriet Tubmans, those Sojourner Truths, those Billie Holidays, whoever you can think of. I want us to draw from their strength. I want you to draw from not only your aunties, your grandmothers, and your mothers, but draw from that strength that you have within yourself. Remember how strong you are. And if you don't feel like you're strong, tell yourself that you're strong anyway. And tell yourself that every single day. Plant that little seed within yourself every single day. So I'm going to say this one time and then I'm going to close for the night. Every great dream begins with a dreamer. Always remember, you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars to change the world. This is Nerra Muhammad. You have been listening to For Women by Women.
That's what's up right there. Nerra, how can folks get more information about you and I Call Her Queen, LLC, and the work that you're doing?
Well, I'm all over social media, so you guys can get me on Facebook. You can get Nerra Muhammad on Facebook. You can get I Call Her Queen on Facebook, as well as on my social media. My Instagram account is also Nerra Muhammad, Nerra_Muhammad, Muhammad, spelled like the last name, not the first. And you can also catch me on Etsy. I have an Etsy shop called Call Her Queen, where you can go on there and you can check out some of my artwork that is relevant to the ladies in history. And you can also catch my I Call Her Queen page on Instagram.
Nice.
So please follow. Please send questions, or if you have any topics that you want to hear me discuss, or if there's any heroine that you would like to have shouted out, please feel free to send me their names and why you want to shout them out, and I will do so. Thank you.
That's what I'm talking about. Nerra Muhammad's For Women by Women, as we have our weekly update about great women. Next week, of course, we'll have another installment for our national, as we continue to celebrate Women's History Month, and Nerra will continue to bring you that fire. But ladies, be your own heroine. Can I say that for the brothers as well? Can we be our own heroes? Yes, I think we can be that. I think we could be that. Harriet just had a nice little something to make the brothers be their own heroes when they started to get weak on that Underground Railroad. So, again, thank you, Nerra, for bringing that up. And definitely rest in power, Sister Harriet Tubman. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.